indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everyone. This is the GCIDA Loan Review Committee for June 28th. One thing we have on our agenda this morning, we have a pilot application by North American Tapes. We have Darren Prance with us this morning. Darren, you want to just quick review of your project, what's happening?
Okay. We're actually, we've been having hiring issues for 2 years, so we automation and actually expanding the plant by 19,200 square feet to allow for the automation. And a second line. There's actually another calendar line coming in for the trainer state market, which is NCAA, NFL football, pretty much most of it. That market opened up because J&J actually out of Brazil closed their facility. So they were the number one supplier of all trainers tape. And we developed the product that got accepted by them all. So they're just waiting for, we'll do 100,000 cases this year, but the market's like 500,000, just one football season. So it's enormous.
Would you be the only supplier?
There's some stuff from China, but we're FDA approved for skin contact, so they're having issues with that. So that's about it. They're not much of anything. A couple distributors, and I'm not sure where they're getting their product, but it's inferior to what we're running.
So if you're producing 100,000 this year?
Yeah.
Where the other 400,000 coming from?
That would be coming from 2 distributors, a little bit of J&J left, some leftover product. They want more, of course. I just can't. Takes time to get the equipment in line,
And you've already got the equipment?
Yep. On order. It's been calendar's been 3 years to put together. So COVID interrupted it greatly. Mostly in the electronic side, in the drives and stuff, not really in the bulky equipment side of it. That delayed it quite a bit. And then it still does today because I got converting equipment from Italy it'll be here in September. It's supposed to be here in March.
Okay.
But
Is most of the other equipment already delivered at your site?
no, it's starting to trickle in now.
Okay.
I had to rent space across the road, the old Fisher Cast, because I don't have my building up and the stuff's coming in. The plant's quite busy, so I can't take any more room.
Sure.
So,
Good news.
yeah, it's pretty, because we pretty much did all of the hockey market. There's a little bit we're not doing, but you really don't want all of everything, so you need something to talk about. So if you have it all, you're going to be challenged all the time. So you need a comparison.
Sure.
So we push as hard as we're going to push because we don't want to shrink the market, with price. So we ventured into this 3 years ago, developing the trainers tape. So we have another large player that's trying to get in, but the product we started with another company is destroying the other guy that wants to come in. So we got some logistics things to deal with there. We can do them both once the other calendar line's in. And his niche is he offers braces and all kinds of stuff like that for the athletes. So tape just follows along. It's hard to just run around with a roll of tape. It follows other products.
Sure.
Yeah. So it's just a support product. So
Do you have
pretty
a patent?
exciting.
Do you have a patent?
Nope. No patents. No. Some of these formulas we use go back to the 50s because it's all natural. All the adhesives, everything's natural. And back in the 50s, when everything was a cloth diaper, they wanted to get rid of the safety pin, so they wanted an adhesive tab on the cloth diaper.
Right.
And that's sort of where it all started, back in 54.
That's interesting.
Then it went into sports and support tapes, and back then a hockey player would use the old electrical friction tape, gummy stuff. Yeah, that all developed in that time also.
Very interesting.
Yeah, so it's pretty exciting. The building, we almost had it built, I don't know, a year ago, 2 years ago. You couldn't get bar joists. You just couldn't nail anything down for the contractor to feel good about putting your building up. But that's sort of fixed itself now.
Who's the contractor?
It'd be Continental out of Governor.
Okay.
They've done our other 2 buildings.
Okay.
Essex Steel for the building, all local, PTL for the roof, and
Mhm.
ABJ, I think they got sold, I forget what they're called now, but for the sprinklers and all that, so. Pretty much everyone around here, same people as the other 2 buildings.
Can train tape go into the medical market?
Yep.
I'm kind of
Sure
surprised it's not
can.
bigger, that, that the train tape market is like
Uh,
500.
Well, it's pretty large, you'll see it, to the public, you mostly see it in a Walgreens in a blister cup,
Yeah.
hanging on a board, for a support tape, but, it's fairly large, 3 times larger than hockey.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It just, like, the stuff that you buy at Dick's is that the same product?
Sort of close, yeah, but I wouldn't put it on your skin. If you smell the stuff from China, it's a real chemical plant. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not sure what they're doing. I don't know how they get approved, but
So I noticed you said
funny
no
things
retail.
happen.
You
What's
don't
that?
do retail.
No,
Yeah.
no. Pretty much distribution. Like, again, you're not gonna excite anybody with a roll of tape, so. They have catalogs that, and Mueller, some of the big players, they carry medicines and the whole thing to a club. Just like hockey. Hockey and pucks aren't too exciting to a hockey team, but if the dealer has all these sticks and skates and pads, it just follows along.
Explain how you're
And you can only use it once, so that's the best part.
streamlining, explain how you're changing things up to streamline your.
Yeah, the reason, this goes back even further, the reason, and it was great that the state put that land to auction, because they had quite a setback off of 81. And they worked hard at getting that to auction in less than a year, which is pretty amazing. So I got all the land beside us, and by putting the plant on that side, that maintains adhesive making, calendaring, sledding, and then shipping. So we just don't want any crisscross in the plant.
Mhm.
All the materials are one direction out the door. And this will get, by owning all that land, this gets the trucks off of the Fisher Road. So they'll be able to pull off the property, and they'll actually face Coffeen Street when they're backing up to the plant now, which is a lot better.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, pretty exciting. It's we're not getting rid of anybody, obviously. I still need operators. The class of what they do will change. They'll be trained operators instead of into packaging and stuff like that, because
Mhm.
they'll be all auto packed. Combi out of Ohio building all that equipment. Unfortunately, 8,000 other companies approached them when they got this shortfall of workers. So we're auto packing everything now. So we're just on the list, but we're there. We're about 16, 20 weeks away from that equipment.
How many employees do you have now?
48. Yeah. Unfortunately, we're trying to stay under 50 because of insurance reasons. Just so the employees can afford the health insurance.
Sure, yep.
Okay.
Because we'd be considered small business.
Mhm.
And we'll just automate the maintain there.
Yeah, because after you go over 50, you go community, or you lose the community rating.
Yeah. It's the deductible gets real high for your employees. Even though we pick up most of their costs, but they'd have to meet a deductible for 600 to, I think it's 5,000 would be the next step, or 6,000,
Crazy.
something crazy.
Karen, what's your gross revenue for the year? What are you doing business?
We'll do about 16 million this year.
60.
16.
16 million.
Yeah.
Okay.
We grew 42% last year.
Wow.
One growth of 40% again this year, just because the markets are being let down. The demand is through the roof. So it's an opportunity in manufacturing, as everyone knows. If you're not growing, you're dying. So you got to keep going. I do not want to be all this dead at 58, but you can't say no. Someone else will just take it. So then you start losing what you got.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
it's it's a real good product developed, and to copy it, the process is extremely hard, almost unrunnable for most plants. So
So you gotta-
that was sort of on purpose, so it can't be mimicked real easy.
Sure.
More frustrating, make it for another. We don't have many competitors left. We got rid of them all. My dad's first plant's up in Renfrew. They're still running, but they've been sold 3 times to public companies. So they're just flipping and losing sight of their market. They're, once a public company takes you over, they're more into profit per hour products. They don't really care about servicing the whole amount, because not every product's a leader. It's usually some of them turn into services so they don't go somewhere else.
Right.
How many different products do you produce?
There's 3,500 SKUs in the plant. So,
Wow.
different products, geez, I don't know, 15.
Yep.
15, because we do entertainment too. We do all the gaffer's tape for stage shows. Shrink wrapping, when they shrink wrap a boat.
Yeah.
We do all the shrink wrap tapes. Stucco industry, when they stucco around
That's a
windows,
lot.
we do all that tape. Those are industrial products. That's always out there, net 30 business. That's
Sure.
price driven all the time. So you can fill in any voids with industrial products. So we stay in that just to keep us busy, but we haven't ran any industrial, and other than the gaffer's tape in a couple of years. We do all the double-sideds for convention centers, which doesn't sound like a lot of tape, but when they tape down that 10 by 10 carpet at a convention center, that's $7.5 million a year just in convention tape.
Wow.
Just in the US. It's crazy. The carpet in an airport, in an airplane, that aisle, next plane you're on, you lift that's all taped down. They change that strip out pretty much weekly because of the people walking on and off.
Sure.
It gets dirty, so
They just
So
change
that-
it.
So you can take it down.
so lots of it's a temporary hold type product, so they repeat themselves pretty quick.
Mhm.
Our inventory turns at the plant are like almost 9 times a year.
Wow.
So it's in and out quick.
You export?
All over. We've already so far this year done 48 containers to Europe. So it's the most we've ever done, and we're only halfway through the year.
Wow.
Yeah, it's busy over there too. So even in down economies and stuff, and everyone's trying to find their way, sports and entertainment and drinking, everything sort of goes up. So I don't do alcohol, but sports and entertainment goes up. They're not buying the big tickets and traveling everywhere. So yeah, people like to be entertained or stay active. So
Yeah.
it always does good. It's not pandemic proof, but it is. We've never had that happen before. But we were down probably 3 weeks there only because there was nowhere to ship to. We are an FDA product, so it is a medical device. So we didn't have to stay down. But once you can't ship out, I mean, you run out of room.
I wondered how that might have affected you.
Yeah, we just ran out of room and waiting for distributors and that. They couldn't stay open. And
Sure.
Yeah.
So it was a big interruption, but it lasted 3 weeks.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was.
Well, it's nice to have your company in our city.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's the equipment's large. It's not you know, I always joke with everyone, it's not phone lines and stuff that you can go and come and go real quick. The calendar that's coming in now is like 338,000 pounds. It's gotta go on 7 feet of concrete.
Yeah.
P&M across the road is actually putting the pad in next week for the calendar. So it's, yeah, it's big stuff.
Who
It's
makes that equipment?
Farrell,
Where's
which, Connecticut,
Okay.
Farrell and GE were pretty big companies in Connecticut back in the day, especially the 60s. But it's still supported with drawings and everything, but the frames and it, pretty much a calendar is nothing more than frames. Your rolls, I get out of Germany, and then your roller bearings from Timken, and
Sure.
all that stuff's pretty basic, but the actual frames and stuff are enormous from, they made the best stuff, Farrell.
Nice.
Not made anymore. I don't know if there's any foundry running in the United States. I'm not sure. I don't think so. I can't even get rolls made in the United States. I gotta go to Germany. They can grind them here. They can't make them. Spinning pores.
Right.
Yeah. That's all done at Waltz and Earl out of Germany.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's funny how Europe looks at their companies compared to how we do, because they build a community around it and then they support it 100%. Because that one's been around almost 300 years.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah,
Amazing.
it's pretty cool. So the only reason I went with Waltz and Earl is they were actually the backup roll maker for Farrell back in the day. So they have a lot of the drawings. I have them also, but
Interesting.
7 months to make a roll. So it's a work of art.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I have spare sets in the plant, just in case.
Mhm.
The only way you can wreck a roll really is if you frack it with temperature and crack it or something. Because it's quite thin at the surface, even though it's 15,000 pound roll, but
Sure.
to get the temperature and even temperature, it's, well, it's not even half an inch at the surface.
Yep.
So that's about all of it. Busy.
Fascinating.
That's all.
Fascinating. Thank you for the information.
Yeah,
Learned a lot this
definitely,
morning.
definitely.
Lila, you wanna walk us through? Or who put this together with me?
I did, they get the sheet out?
Cost benefit analysis.
Oh, the cost benefit. Oh. Not sure I can see it without my glasses.
You're wearing them.
Yeah, my reading.
Like, you did the same thing.
Oh, boy.
You forgot your reading glasses?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Actually, I left them home. Did you get a copy of the cost benefit
Yes.
analysis?
Yeah.
That pretty much shows a definite benefit on the total project. Can't see it, can you? I have numbers to it,
Yep,
okay.
Is that where we're looking at the benefit down here at the bottom?
Yeah, the bottom of this
Okay.
page, second page.
The local benefit is 41.5 million. State 2.1. With the cost, the ratios
The
are,
ratio is
the ratio is 148 to 1
100.
on the local, and state is 26 to 1, so.
Just a question, since I'm relatively new to this process, where the numbers come for the data input here? Is this something that you guys put together?
We
Well-
put together and we have a program, we put it into the program.
Yep.
And that
How do you calculate some of the, increase in property tax revenue, local municipal revenue? Where do those numbers come from?
the revenues, I input the revenues for
Okay.
the taxes. And then the program does
Okay,
analysis.
so all right,
And they have factors they add for peripheral benefits, as Darren builds the plant, the contractors, the people that are supplying the goods, that's all internal to the program.
Okay. That's what I thought.
It's
Just
put
curious.
together by an economist up
Yep.
in Saratoga Springs, actually.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, the only real cost associated with this is the sales tax benefit that he receives on the front end. Taxes are being paid, though at a lower rate,
Sure.
so that's,
Sure.
almost all of these will show a positive ratio.
Thank you.
Rob?
No, I just add, Lyle, the mortgage reporting taxes also.
That's part of it, yeah. Sales tax and mortgage reporting.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
Nothing else. I asked one question yesterday, Peggy sent me a better drawing, so I don't have any additional questions. Sorry for not being here, Darren.
Thank you.
You don't have a tie on today, so it must be your,
It's my new work attire.
anyone have any questions with regards?
No?
Nope.
Say that. Say what you just said.
One question you may not want to answer, so after this expansion is done, you've kind of run out of land in some regards, but you can find more land, obviously. But with regards to the equipment and the markets, is this kind of your, like, last planned expansion for, some period of time, or maybe forever, just to get you to a point where you have the flexibility to enter new markets or serve a greater market?
Right, it actually, we have another building already drawn up, 150 by 160 on the grand paper side. Because once the second counter's in, the focus now goes to the adhesive making, where I have to put in a Banbury room, which speeds up the adhesive procedure 3 times what we're running now.
But that's not part of this application.
No,
That's
no,
something-
that would be the mixing department is the next step, as capacity grows. And that equipment's all pretty readily available. It's more or less just bring it in and get the procedures going.
And as far as you have enough room to put that in, it's just waiting for the time.
Yeah, waiting for, banks to leverage me more. So, they control that, I mean, it's all right to use your own money, but you don't wanna use too much.
Mhm.
Yeah, you want, if you don't use, the bank or funding elsewhere, you gotta keep the business pushing itself. If I was that flush in cash, I would retire. So, I'm obviously not doing that. As a matter of fact, my son he's in law enforcement in Monroe County Sheriff's Department. He's actually coming back to the plant next year to general manage the place.
Wow.
Just I'm starting to get that from customers. What's your plan? You're 58, you've been doing this 43 years. What's your plan? So they were relieved to hear that the family's gonna keep going.
Mhm.
So,
Dave, I'll make a motion to visit the full board.
Okay,
Second?
any other questions? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? It's going to the full board. We will be meeting on the 13th. I don't see any issues. We've already discussed it and
okay,
everything, so.
Yeah.
We should be good to go.
excellent. Thank you.
Do we want him at the full board or no?
That would be just totally up to you, Darren.
Yeah,
If you want to,
yell if you want me here.
if you want to,
Where's the full board meeting?
Right here.
Okay, yeah, no problem.
Same thing, be
I never thought of bringing you the actual product that we developed.
Maybe interesting.
Yeah.
I could next time for sure.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, it's it, and I can show you, you'll never look at a roll of tape the same after.
Actually, we love to see that.
Yeah,
Interesting
Cool.
listening this
So in
morning.
trainers, there's a lot to it. You can't have threads coming out.
Yeah.
Everything reflects pressure marks on an athlete. So if it's built up or a thread pulls off and they're wrapping, he now gets a pressure mark in that spot. So there's a lot to, not just a roll of tape. It's,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and then trainer will wrap, I don't know how many football players on a team, 40, 45?
53.
Yeah, 53. Well, he's wrapping them all.
Yeah.
Some more than others. A lineman would get his, because they play on turf, a lineman would get his turf boots taped right to his ankle, just because they can push each other right out of their turf boots. Where other people, it just supports arches and stuff from injuries, wrists, fingers, whatever. You tape fingers together so they don't get jammed, and
Mhm.
so, yeah, I'll bring product, and
That would be great. That would
Yeah.
be.
it's, there's a lot to the development of it.
Sure.
I think at one time you did bring a box of different tapes. in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah, this whole expansion will be for trainers. I mean, we've already, like I said, we got most of hockey now, as much as we want. And then, the trainers market, I have the ability to run pipeline coatings, even though the epoxy pipes right now, if it fails out in the field, they don't shut the pipelines down. They dig them, sling them, wrap them in tape and lay them back in the ditch where they're running. So we used to do, when at my dad's plant, we used to do all the Trans-Canada pipelines, all over the ditch wrapping. I've done none of that. I don't go into duct tape just because it's a pretty low-end commodity product now. Didn't used to be, but it's turned into 3 rolls for $5 at
Yeah.
a big box store.
You can't find any good stuff.
No, back in the day, that Gorilla Tape
50 bucks.
would be what the old duct tape was back in the day. It
Yeah.
was pretty heavy duty.
Yeah.
Yeah, that market's gone the way it went. So there's a bunch of stuff we can run that we don't, just because we're busy enough with sports and entertainment.
Sure.
But probably the double-sided we'd want to grow in some more, because it's a really nice product, hard to copy.
Mhm.
Even hard for the cheaper processes, hot melts and stuff like that, so.
That's why you didn't do a patent. It's hard to copy what you do.
It's,
That's
if we
perfect.
felt any threat at all, yeah, but there's, these are not, I wonder sometimes if it's gonna run. If you haven't seen it run before, you'd quit trying, but. So, yeah, they're difficult. Fortunately, the machine we got, because I bought brand new heating and cooling, it's very repeatable, which in any process, heating and cooling is everything.
Yep.
Everything else just turns, so, as long as you make that repeatable, you can usually get back to where you are, no matter what the raw materials are, because they do change, even though they say they don't, but they do.
Cool.
So, yeah, that's perfect, thank you.
We tried as a board to go out and visit every now and then.
Definitely.
So once you get this up and.
I have a lot more to show you, especially the automation will be here in September. They'll start site work in August.
That's right.
They only need 100 days. These are pre-engineered steel buildings out of Essex and Cortland. So they're not that difficult to put up. They only need about 100 days to put them up. Plus, we're only putting up 3 walls because we're attaching it to the existing. So it's pretty easy to put up. The site work might be a little challenging. I don't know if you drove by and seen the topo lines, and it's all sort of, so there'll be a lot of stormwater runoff control and stuff like that that we're not used to doing because we have more height elsewhere. So, but they're well used to dealing with that. So probably compared to the other buildings we built, it probably a little more site work than we're used to in costs, just because of the way the land is.
How long you been there?
20 years at that spot.
Is that right?
Oh, wow.
This will be our 3rd edition.
Nice.
I've been around a long time.
I've been down here 30 years with a green card, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. I've been down here since 90, I was coming down in 92. Where Henderson Equipment is where my dad's. Back in 91, everything's to be made in USA. That's how Walmart really got its thing going, till it got caught, but. Back then, for us Canadian, you wanted to get to that foreign trade zone so you could, get some product down here.
Sure.
And so we decided to open a plant just over the border. That's sort of how it
You
happened.
did.
Good.
Yeah, because the other plant's like 150 miles north of here,
Yeah.
Renfrew.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how we ended up down here. And then when my father retired, because they were getting a lot of demands, they were up to 43 million in sales, and it needed a big infusion to keep going.
Sure.
And they were in their 60s then, so that's a lot of demand for them.
Yeah.
So they retired and sold to a public company that come after them. So I worked for them a bit, but once they shut down this plant down here because they wanted all the engineering and stuff out of the one company, I just stayed.
And did your own thing.
Yeah. I had a lot of good people, and everyone from my dad's plant is pretty much working for me at this plant. Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Because we did real well in this plant, and then of course they just shut stuff down. So I didn't go.
Good for you.
Yep.
School.
That's
Awesome.
great.
I'll send you a note, remind you for the
Okay.
13th.
Yep.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And then after everything's all set, we'll do a tour.
Yeah, definitely.
All set, so we can see it.
Yeah,
Definitely do that.
we tend to help a lot of places get going and everything, and we went out a couple weeks ago and went to the boat.
Metalcraft.
Oh yeah. I wouldn't really roll.
They are rolling.
They're rolling and.
Yeah.
Easy stack.
Easy Stack is
Stack.
rolling.
Yeah.
Easy Stack, but hard to fathom that they come in here and they're sitting here. People don't realize what we have.
Yeah, I mean, Robin knows, once you see a roll of tape to us is like 2,500 pound roll. Everyone's used to seeing it.
Yeah,
I'm like, yeah, look at, that's it, gonna
That's
come
all
down
it
to these
takes,
little
man,
rolls.
this big.
Exactly.
Just bring a small one in.
Yeah, I will. But when you're producing a 2,500 pound roll in 42 minutes,
Wow,
Is that
yeah, it's-
crazy?
looks a lot different.
that's crazy.
Take big equipment to do that,
Mhm.
and heavy equipment because of the stresses.
Sure.
We laminate with pressure and temperature, so takes big frames, unlike a paper mill.
That's,
They'll have a lot of rolls and laminated
Right.
rolls and stuff, but they're lighter frame. There's not a lot of huge pressure there.
Right.
Rubber, there's a lot of pressure.
interesting.
Yep.
It is.
That's
Thank you.
perfect.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Derek.
Nice meeting
Yeah,
you.
nice meeting you.
Yes, sir.
Look forward. Thank you. Yes, sir. Hey, thank you, bud. See ya. Thanks.
Marshall, anything else we need to go over today, or?
I don't think so. Nope.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll move.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
I
We'll stand adjourned. Happy 4th of July, everybody.